We are back. The sauna is cooking. I'm starting to drip already. How about you?
It's coming.
I know. I'm a professional sweater. I stated this before. I can turn it on at the drop of a hat. I'm excited to show everybody now the product that you created. It was a year and a half ago, is that right?
Yeah, launched the company a
year and a half ago. So then how long was it in the process to establish the shoe? What was that design process like?
I had the idea in April of 2022, and then just day by day, it's like, what is the first step of this? Because I didn't have a background in any of this. I did my first factory visit November of 2022, and then I launched November of 2023. So about a year and a half.
Cool.
In the works.
When I think of shoemaking, I can't remember the exact movie, it might be called Prefontaine, but it's with the Jared Leto version where he plays Steve Prefontaine, and they're showing how like they were making those track shoes back in the day when he was a runner for Oregon. And I don't know, that was a cool visual for me. Maybe we'll splice that into this episode. But were you using any type of machine? Were you doing anything at home, or did you find a company to be able to like work with prototypes on this?
No, I just worked direct with the factory. I manufacture out of Mexico, so I've been to Mexico a bunch of times, and
that's cool.
as hands-on with that process as I could be. But no, I do sometimes have to give the disclaimer, like I don't make these in my basement. Like I have a manufacturing team that does it all, and I just had to create the design, and then did like 7 sample rounds, I think, until we, you'd be with them in person. You're like, all right, we're going to switch this. They're like, yes, switch that. And they're like, okay, I leave. And then they give the sample, and you're like, what? This isn't switched. We talked about. So that was probably the most patience testing and difficult process.
Nice.
Sampling.
Well, drum roll, because here they come. I've got a sack of Minnemals here, and I put emphasis on sack because I love it. I have a pair at home already, so now I have 2 lovely shoe sacks, as I like to call it. But it's better than a box, right? Boxes are clunky. You got to recycle them. Now I got a purpose with this. I can put stuff in there, and phenomenal.
I hate a box inside of a box, so that was my motive with it.
Yeah, that's good. No, these things are super slick. You can kind of see them right there. You can see the bottom of it. Is there anything that you'd want to show people or highlight as I try to avoid sweating all over my new shoes? Thank you very much, by the way.
Yes, of course. Well, the things that make a shoe a barefoot shoe and everything we're talking about is that it's going to have a 0-drop sole, meaning the heel is the same height as the toe. So a lot of athletic shoes especially have a higher thickness at the heel than the toe, which is going to shift your center of mass a little more over the ball of your foot, and then changes your posture and your mechanics as well. It's going to have a thin and flexible sole, so you can see I can roll this up, I can twist it every which way, and that is intended to give the joints of your feet motion. Again, we want those muscles and joints moving. We want it to flatten. We want it to engage, so on and so forth. And then the toe box is going to have room so that, especially the big toe, but all the toes can sit in their natural anatomical position rather than being tapered.
Yeah, like you don't want that forced conforming of the shoe with your toes. Right. You want that that spacing right there, and which I love. Mm-hmm. And when I first started wearing these shoes about a year ago, you advised to ease into it, right? And as someone that's had 3 ACL surgeries, broken back, hip problems, I take my stride very seriously. So I took your advice to heart, and I eased my way into it, similar to like a new pair of hockey skates. If you get a new pair of hockey skates, you got to break them in a little bit, right? And with this, didn't take long at all, but all of a sudden I'm now much more in tune with my foot while I'm walking. And just last night, my wife and I walked for, it was probably like 3 miles, and I have no pain in my knee, awesome. No pain in my ankle, in my hip, or anything, and I'm completely in tune with my foot hitting the ground. It's almost, it is like it's barefoot in a sense, but I have, the protection in there.
Yeah, there's just a little bit so that it's not totally barefoot. But yeah, the transition is super important, especially if I don't know someone's starting point. If you're already really comfortable barefoot at home, you're probably going to be good to go right off the bat. But the whole thing with a shoe like this is it's putting more load on your foot with every step you take, which is good because we want that to strengthen. No different, like you go to the gym, you put load on your bicep to get a stronger bicep. Whereas most athletic shoes that have a ton of cushion and support to it take load off of your foot, which is what causes the weakening over time. But all that to say, if we're putting more load, you have to allow your body and foot time to adapt and strengthen to that new demand. So don't go for a 4-mile walk right off the bat.
Yeah.
Start with like a 10-minute walk, slowly increase from there.
And then do you, like, for me, you know, I still, if I have a really long day, I might not wear these, but I've just been waiting to ask the question. Like, do you think I could wear them all day and just be totally fine?
Yeah, I mean, a big thing is like nurses and teachers are always concerned about it because they're like, I'm on my feet all day. Again, you have to get to that point of your body being able to handle 12 hours worth of being in that. But once you're at that point, absolutely. You know, now I have plenty of nurses that wear my shoes. And they're like, it's all I can wear because, you know, I can't go back to what I used to, so on and so forth. So yeah, but it doesn't have to be a black or white thing. And I think that's an important thing to note with the barefoot community. Sometimes it gets a little bit aggressive in a black or white. It's not like you have to throw every single pair of shoes out and this is the only thing you can ever wear, but think about the time that you're spending in the shoe and what those compounding effects can be. And so I would say majority of the time, but you know, I always have, especially girls, if they want to go to date night, they're like, I kind of want to wear heels. Can I wear heels? I'm like, go for 2 hours. It's not going to wreck your feet. Just think about outside of that.
Yeah. Like a little bit deviation is not going to revert your foot back to a bad state.
Right.
And yeah, like that's just so awesome. What else I like about this is, you know, you can kind of notice it's just a little thicker where the toes are. So yeah, your whole foot can be in there. And you know, for me, it was recently recommended to wear some toe spacers because of my pinky toe, ring toe situation. And I could fit my toe spacers on my feet in this shoe and be totally fine. And that is not the case for other shoes.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that other shoes are just inherently creating damage to your foot by forcing them in together.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yep.
And I got the Letty big toe over here, and not everybody's got the Letty big toe. So I can't just fit into everything seamlessly. You know, that's where the extra space in here just really helps my feet.
Yeah,
feel
Letty
good.
big toe. And that's people ask, what's so different about your shoes? It's like, there's nothing revolutionary in this. I'm actually stripping away all the technology that so many shoes have built up over time because I want your foot to have space and I want it to engage and function naturally so that we have an arch of our foot that is fully capable if it's strong.
Yeah.
Where you run into issues is when it's weakened so much, and that's where the orthotics get thrown in, so on and so forth. So just keep it strong, keep it moving, and let your whole body have so much more of a strong foundation.
And the name for your business and your shoe is so perfect because, you know, we're obviously from Minnesota, so there's that. But then you just said it right there, like it's a minimalist approach to a shoe. It's eliminating all that technology that is great if you're performing, you know, and a high-performing athlete.
Yeah.
But the average Joe
Totally.
does not need that type of technology in your foot.
Yeah.
You don't need to be paying $300 for a shoe,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah, and I would say that, you know, was some of the aha moments for me building into I should develop my own, is that I'd have so many clients sit down and they have joint pain somewhere and they always give the disclaimer, I've always worn good shoes. And that idea of what we've always been told to look for in a good shoe is a supportive and a cushioned shoe, never talking about what the secondary weaknesses and stuff that can come from that. And so that was really why I created Minnemals, was to have a bigger platform to talk about this stuff and what does it mean if you're always wearing a cushioned shoe? Can you wear something that isn't? And what are the benefits of that? And then also to have a really approachable and unintimidating option for people to start with.
Cool. Well, you've really given yourself a nice footprint in the industry.
Yes. The sick joke is that I hated feet so much growing up. And now I'm like, I touch feet all day long and I work with shoes that go, I mean, it's comical. But you appreciate once you understand the complexity of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there like an incredible just victory story that you've heard from anybody wearing the shoes, or is it like just a general consensus over time that's like, hey, these things are great, they really help me out?
I would say, and I want to give this lightly as a disclaimer because it doesn't always work immediately for everyone. Again, some people are going to need longer to transition into this, but I have countless people that switch to this and they don't have knee pain with lunges anymore, or they have less knee pain within a week, you know. Some of those, it's like your body is craving something that you're now giving it, which is that increased stimulation and activation. So those are always awesome when it works out immediately. You're like, I had back pain and knee pain and it's gone. But sometimes it takes longer to get to that. But those are awesome when that happens.
Yeah, and that's, that's just like anybody's foot. Everybody's foot is different. Everybody's going to have a different timeline for how it's going to, work for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Don't get frustrated at something like that.
Yep.
That's just like if you're going to work out, you're not going to maybe have the world's greatest workout your first time doing it.
Totally.
You got to ease into it. Incremental steps.
I always give that analogy. Is that no different than, because again, thinking about the new load that we're putting on your feet. You're starting a new workout program. You're not going to jump for the 50-pound dumbbells. You're going to start with the 10s, slowly increase from there. It's the same. It's the mindset has to just be right on that.
Sweet. Quick, slight deviation, but what do you think of sandals in a sense?
Yeah, well, so if we're talking about gait, wearing a flip-flop, you always have to grip. You have to hold the foot, or the shoe on your foot, excuse me. And so that changes your gait mechanics. Like if you pay attention when you're wearing a flip-flop, you're curling your toes at an incorrect time with what a correct gait sequence could be. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have slides that every once in a while I'll throw on if I'm not going to go on a walk with them though. Yep. So having a back to your sandal so that it stays on your foot is, should be there.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm a self-described thong sandal lover. And I've learned recently that it's not good for me. And the fabric, the thong that goes in between your big toe and your second toe, like that's pulling down in an unnatural way and creating what you're saying is this weird grip for your toes that isn't doing your foot any favors.
Yeah. Again, if you're gonna go walk to the lake quick, sure, throw it on. It's not gonna create a detrimental effect. But a lot of people wear them all day, every day in the summer, especially. And
I see people brag about it. I got a buddy, Brett. I'm looking at you, Brett. I know you love your sandals.
Called out.
This guy will wear them to dance agenda events, and I'll be dancing, and I'll step on his toes, I'll step on his foot, and I'll be like, dude, you are wearing sandals. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And he loves them, and it works for him, but think about something else. I promise you that it's going to pay off down the road if anybody is able to make that transition, or at least kind of focus on limited use of sandals.
Yeah.
And limited use meaning, distance and time you're using them. Go barefoot or go barefoot shoe.
Or a sandal with a strap. That's
sandal with a strap.
On your foot.
Yeah, like, yes, sandal strap.
The Crocs with the strap on.
Might not be the most fashionably appealing, but they're appealing to your foot. And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Well, that's super cool. Is there any other, something else that you'd want to share with somebody about trying to step out of their comfort zone with their feet?
I would say, just thinking about conceptually, look at a muscular system, or look up muscles of the foot and look at how many are in your foot. And then think about, why have we gotten to the point where everyone thinks that we always need to support the foot when it has all of that really complex and amazing structure to it on its own? Doesn't that contradicts itself? If it's already there, why do we always have to be putting an external structure to make it function right, And then I would say assessing yourself. I mean, so there's so much knowledge in just being able to feel. And so I just always encourage people, take a mental note. What do you feel beneath your ground? If you have pain with squatting or lunging, where do you feel your pressure of your foot? Because a lot of times people think about the hip, but they don't think about the foot's relation to that. So if you're in the bottom of a lunge and you have a lot of inner knee pain, where's your weight distribution on your foot? Because if you're heavy on the big toe, your knee is going to go there. So I think I just always encourage at home taking your own self-assessment.
Yeah, and it's just, doing it the natural way is always going to be better for you.
Yeah.
Take the science out of it. You're not going to need expensive footwear to be able to operate. And just take the minimalist approach, the Minnemals approach.
And this is a low-hanging fruit. There's research out there that shows, they compared someone that walked in a minimalist shoe versus did foot-specific strengthening exercises, and they had almost the same strength outcome in the end. So it's even easier just to switch your footwear little by little and increase that strength of your foot.
I love it. Well, you know what else I love? I love jumping into water.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
And this time of year, when it's not hardcore winter, the sauna feels just a little bit hotter.
A little bit hotter,
So we're going to go and plunge, and we'll see you down at the dock shortly.